Hey there and good morning. It's Friday, October 18th, and I'm about to go on a little shakeout run. Welcome to my video for the Bull City Racefest Half Marathon in Durham, North Carolina. Con here wants to cuddle up to this fireplace because it's fall weather finally and it's getting chilly out, which is why I'm all dressed up. Anyway, gonna go over my goals for the race really quickly and also let you know that I will be revisiting this shoe, the On CloudBoom Strike. If you notice, spoiler alert, I changed the laces, so that's one thing I'll talk about probably during the shoe talk. But yeah, this is gonna be a tough half. There's a lot of rolling hills in Durham. There's a lot of competition too. I don't think I'll get a top 3 spot because I think I'd have to be running in the 70s. I think last year's winner was 70 minutes. But I think I'm in shape for low 80s, 82, 83 on a fair course, maybe 84 on this hilly course. I think that would probably place me in my age group. There are no Masters awards at this race. But my goal for this race is not really to just go out and see what I can do for a half marathon. I plan on starting at more of a marathon pace for the first mile or two. And when I say marathon pace in this phase of my training, I'm talking about my current marathon fitness. You know, how I did at Chicago last year, which would be in the mid 620s per mile, about 4 minutes per kilometer. Now, I would be wanting to do something a little bit closer to a 354 per kilometer, you know, by the time I get to the end of this training block, 617 per mile, maybe 615. And maybe I'll get to that also during this race. I'd like to do most of the race at that pace and maybe speed it up at the end. Con really does not want me to be filming right now, but we'll see what happens in Durham. All right, guys. All right, here is the gear flat lay for the Bull City Racefest Half Marathon. Starting from the top down, I'm going to be wearing this Junk brand headband. It's not going to be quite cold enough for a full running hat, so this Believe in the Run swag that I got from doing Winter Grit one year is going to be the perfect choice. I'll have these Gooders Wrap G sunglasses. I will be wearing a Reckless Running singlet as I usually do. I have the GoPro here. I have these this brand new pair of Injinji lightweight running gloves, which I got as a comp. I got as a bonus when I ordered some trail socks a couple of weeks ago. Speaking of trail socks, I'm going to be wearing Injinji trail socks today, and I'll talk about why in a moment. I'll have the GoPro with me. There's my bib. I'll probably take this slightly caffeinated vanilla goo at the start, and I'll have this Morton gel to take maybe halfway through the half marathon. Half marathon fueling isn't quite as important, but I think it's a long enough race where it does help. I will have Rabbit Speedster half tights, which I use for all of my fall and winter racing, especially if it's a longer race like a half marathon or longer. And I have the On CloudBoom Strike. And I found that the trail socks are the best matchup with the On CloudBoom Strike because it has a very roomy upper that doesn't really confine my foot all that much. Also, this heel collar, there was some irritation on the heel collar with one of my ankles. I got a little bit of abrasion there during the testing phase of this shoe, and these trail socks have a nice padded collar there that should provide some protection there. Not a game changer, but oftentimes, even with shoes I like, that there is some sock choice that does make it relevant. Also, as you can tell, and I talked about earlier in the video, I did change out the laces in the On CloudBoom Strike. Okay, that's the gear flat lay. So I've made the drive to Durham. It's about a 2-hour drive from where I live. 7:30 start time for the half marathon. As you can tell by the clock behind me, that's about 55 minutes from now. It is a beautiful 42 degrees Fahrenheit here. I guess that works out to about 5 degrees Celsius. So that's perfect running weather. It's going to be a hilly route, like I said. So we'll see how this pace progression goes. But I'm feeling pretty good. All right, 10 minutes to the start. Done my warm-up run, nice and easy, 2 miles. I'm all kitted out, ready to go. Almost feel like I should get rid of this headband, but I think I'd rather be warm and stuff it in my back pocket after a couple miles than start chilly. Nice sky. Beautiful morning.
In the Bull City. And as you guys are out there on the course, you're going to be greeted by In the Mix Productions finest. Y'all know what time it is.
10 seconds to go. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And they're off, ladies and gentlemen.
Nice and easy. First mile, that's 6:26. Right on pace for how I wanted to start. I'm gonna throw in maybe another one of those and then try and squeeze it down. So I don't know if you can tell by the camera angle, but most of this course is just these short rollers. Nothing too long, but hard to find a rhythm. Mile 2, about 12:52, so 2 6:26 miles. I'm gonna see if we can crank it down a little bit now, just a little bit. Hit the mile 3 marker in 1909, which makes it like a 6:17 mile. That's kind of goal. Mile 5, 38:37. Still cranking out 6:15, 6:17s. But these rolling hills make it hard to get a feel for it. Looks like a 10K split, 39:15. I'll take it. That accounts for those 2 slow miles. Looks like the 5-mile runners. Go 5-milers! Go! Lots of enthusiasm. This is a steep hill. Still on pace at mile 7 though. So those previous runners were actually mid-pack half marathoners. The front of the pack 5-milers have just joined the course. So it'll be tricky to know where I am in the pack. You've got to be kidding me. All right, here we go. Good timing. Whew. That 8th mile is kind of brutal. It was the 6:24. Lots of uphill. Mile 9 in 56:49. That's pretty good. About a 6:19, 6:18 overall. Considering the first 2 miles were 6:26. It's gonna be rolling out and back. 10 miles, 63:10. That's a 6:19 pace. And going down a steep hill, which I'm gonna come right back up. This last 10K, excuse me, this last 5K is gonna be awful. CCMF, am I right? Turn around. Just over 2.5 to go. Come on. I'm in the last 600 yards. It's gonna be close. Try and sneak under 83. I'm at 81 right now. Mile 13 and 82.
Finish!
Hey Jay.
How you?
All right, how are you doing?
Good. 10th place.
10th?
Might be 9th.
Nice.
Because they think this one guy skipped the turnaround.
Okay. All right, so I stopped my watch at 82:45. I think I came through the finish arch in a couple seconds before that. So 82:40 low. According to Jay, at the finish line, he says I was 10th place, so top 10. Might have been 9th because I guess the first place guy, he had missed a turnaround or something and might have cut the course. So top 10 either way. I'm very happy with that. I didn't see very many people who looked old. I guess looks can be deceiving, so I would think I probably have my age group, or at least placed in it. Yeah, felt pretty good. There were some longer hills on the back end that I just couldn't film because I was trying to make oxygen choices. But definitely had to pull back effort on those. Could still kind of muster up some low 6 minute or sub 6 minute effort on the back end of those. So I would say conditioning wise, pretty good. Race plan went pretty much according to plan. I'll do a shoe talk in a little while. Probably gonna change my clothes and get something to eat first. Okay, I think we might try and do a race recap while I'm doing a cool down run here. And that way I can sit down in the car and do a shoe talk a little bit later. Yeah, so first 2 miles, I was planning on going out at right around a 6:25 pace, between 6:25 and 6:30, 4-minute kilometer. I did both of them at 6:26, which is exactly a 4-minute kilometer. And I was really trying to do that by feel, which is difficult in a city like Durham that's full of these rolling hills that are each about a block long. There's some longer hills later in the course, we'll get to that. But eyeballing the watch and monitoring the effort, after spending so much time at that 4-minute per kilometer pace during my last marathon training plan, last road marathon training plan, I feel like I had a pretty good feel for it. You know what, I'm gonna stop the watch here. Whew. And just kind of trying to find that feel and ignore the people around me. And I think I did a pretty good job with that. And then made a conscious effort after the mile marker to crank it down to something under a 6:20 pace, which I did. Most of the next miles were in the 6:17 to 6:15 range. And again, that was mainly going by feel. That is the marathon pace I would like to do by the end of this training plan. And I knew it was gonna feel a bit harder than marathon pace today, but that's all right because I was just working on pacing. So yeah, I was kind of finding a rhythm with those rolling hills and through, 6, 7, 8 miles and starting to pick people off here and there. I was actually doing pretty well in the field. I didn't really know where I was until we got to the turnaround past mile 10. Mile 8 was pretty brutal because it had a sustained long hill. And then I was able to get some of that back on mile 9. Mile 10 was pretty rolling. Mile 11 was brutal because it was coming back up a big hill that I went down on mile 10. That was after the out and back. Mile 12, I was able to kind of maintain my base pace. The 13th mile was fast. That was close to 6 minutes because I was trying to get around a bunch of 5-milers and really just kind of looking at the clock and wanting to get that sub 83. I wasn't really eyeing a time goal until I got near the end and, thought just under principle, I should get under 83. So I think I finished pretty strong. I will say that on some of those long hills where I was slowing down to maybe a 7:30 per mile pace for parts of it, I was really able to turn the legs over and get the pace back. And sometimes on the downhills that would follow those, I would be in the 550s or 540s. So I feel like the conditioning and the hill strength is still there, which I'm not going to need much hill strength for Houston,
but it's going to make the legs stronger in general. So that's the recap. I'm going to finish my cool down here, which I haven't been able to get much of, and then we'll do a shoe talk. Okay, shoe talk. The On CloudBoom Strike was my racing shoe for today, which was going to be a day largely at marathon effort, or a little bit faster than marathon effort, for a half marathon distance. And when I did the review of this shoe, I had a lot of good things to say, and I had a lot of things that I think On could have improved upon. I still think On can improve upon a lot of things, mainly the upper and the way that it just does not feel like a secure lockdown. However, that was not really anything that was on my mind during the course of this race. I think I had the right sock choice, which I talked about during the gear flat lay. Having a little bit higher volume sock for my particular fit in a men's 9.5 was good, and I did not have any irritation with this heel collar today, so that was really out of sight, out of mind. I did change the laces to some serrated laces, aftermarket laces, which I have done on a few of the shoes that I really like. The Hoka Cielo X is another example of them. And that is more of a preference thing for me. This shoe is really soft and bouncy for a race shoe, which I think is really good for a longer distance race. And I would consider anything half marathon and up to be a longer distance race. I know a lot of marathoners consider a half marathon a shorter race, but I think a half marathon is a lot closer to a marathon in effort than it is to any of the races that would last less than an hour, let's say. We're not elites, so we're not doing a half marathon in less than an hour. The softness, it was very comfortable underfoot. Obviously, this is a plated shoe, a carbon plated shoe, but unlike a lot of carbon plated shoes like the Hoka Rocket X or the Nike Vaporfly, you don't really feel the plate, and that's a good thing. The plate is doing the work, you can tell, with the energy return and just with the way the shoe keeps giving back to you late in a race. But I think if you're feeling the plate, then that can get in your head too much. Carbon plates are not comfortable. I don't think you should be feeling them as much as just maybe feeling the indirect effects of them, letting them do their work. But you certainly can feel the cushion. Now, is that good? Is that bad? It's both. On a hilly course like today, there were no flat sections of today's course. Lots of uphill, lots of downhill, some of them long, some of them short. On the downhills and the short stretches that were not really uphill or downhill, the cushion was great because you could just kind of settle into a fast pace and feel like this PIBA midsole, this Helion HF midsole, is really giving you that bounce, that energy return. However, on the uphills, the softness isn't doing you any favors. I was talking to my friend Dave on a shakeout run actually a couple of days ago. We were on a hilly route, and he was wearing the Hoka Mach X2, which he really likes, although it is really soft in the forefoot. And on the uphills, he was feeling like he was sinking too much into the shoe. And although that PIBA gives a great energy return and is great to run in, it almost is a detriment on the uphills. And I did feel like I was fighting that forefoot cushioning on some of the long climbs. Is it worth it on the downhill? Maybe. You just got to know that you're going to dial back the pace. Now, on a flat, on a downhill, on even a little bit of an uphill that is less than a few percent grade, then that's fine, because there is 35.5, 36 millimeters of PIBA under your foot here with that carbon plate. So if you're a 4-foot striker, 4-foot to mid-foot striker like me, it certainly is very protective. Just not something I want to fight against if I'm climbing up a long hill. For something like the Houston Marathon or Chicago or most of the marathon majors, I don't think you're going to have any prolonged steep hills where you're going to be fighting that. But something on a hilly marathon like Charlotte or Richmond, I would consider as rolling hills, not as hilly as Charlotte. Some of those uphills I may not want to be fighting that really cushy forefoot. Value, is it worth the price? Well, it's going to be up there with the Alpha Fly 3 and the likes of the Hoka Cielo X1 and the Saucony Endorphin Elite. I guess it depends what you want your run experience to be. The Endorphin Elite by Saucony, I feel like I can just run my marathon pace and forget it's on foot. The Alpha Fly 3, I've not done a marathon in it. I've only done one half marathon in it. And I feel like it's not something you put out of mind. It's something that is giving you that propulsive pop. And you are thinking about it the whole time, but in a very good way. This one, I think, is kind of halfway between that. You are thinking about it. You are getting that sensation of bounce the whole time. So it's on your mind, but it's more of a, yes, this is still cushy. Yes, this is still giving me a good bounce, but I am sinking into it the whole time. Not really a set it and forget it, but not really thinking about it popping me forward the whole time. So yeah, if that's the sensation you want, then I think it is worth it. But it's still in the conversation for Houston Marathon. I doubt it's going to be taking the place of the Endorphin Elite or the Alpha Fly 3 at this point. But I would still take it for some longer races. Maybe might even wear it for Boston. We'll see. I've yet to get my hands on the Adidas Adios Pro 4. Very few people have, but I imagine that's going to be in that conversation too. But that's my shoe talk. I think I've kind of been talking in circles enough here. Thanks for watching the Bull City Racefest Half Marathon and my revisit of the On CloudBoom Strike. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ding the bell for notifications. Share the video. Leave a comment in the comment space. It helps get me more views. And yeah, we'll see you on the next run.